Questions for Coach.
Right, obviously, Toledo as their quarterback, some big receivers back. Just what do you see for that offense? Those guys.
The explosive. Like they can go, they can get it. They understand it. They've the quarterback's been in that system now, 4 years, and played in 40 games there, so he understands what the head coach, the offense coordinator, what they're trying to get done. They understand. They've seen just about everything from a defensive look and a perspective. So, huge challenge for us.
Coach, you guys had Chip in the right end across the line last year in practice. He didn't get to play much. Does that help you guys prepare, even though it's a different offense? Just knowing that the physical style he plays and those kind of things from having him across the line last year in practice.
I mean, about him, but obviously, he goes up there and it's another year under his belt. Bigger, stronger, faster. Chip was a good player when he was here. Had a really good camp, before the injury happened. So we know we know what to expect. In terms of we're going to get a big, tough runner that if he gets the ball in the open, he can go the distance. The same thing with Christian. The transfer from A&T, same deal. He's got enough there on tape to show that he can make you miss in space. He can spin. He can go to the house. He made a lot of big plays. So, no, big challenge. They got wideouts. They got a quarterback. They got the running back. The experienced O line. Tight ends are back. Like, it's a good offense.
Just your defense from spring to now, where have you seen the most growth or the biggest jump?
Probably just understanding. They're starting to build a little bit of their own scars. We've talked about that in the past. With a lot of new faces, on the team, especially on defense, that they have to make mistakes and learn from those. And so it's just reps, reps within the system. And so now I think they're more confident. There's a confidence, in their communication, in their execution. So I think that's probably the biggest step from spring to now. But now they got to take it to another level with game day.
Brad, you talked about this. Thought depth would be a strength for you all as a plan, still to play a lot of guys starting out week one.
Yeah, I think that's the plan is to find roles for a lot of people and to play a lot of different bodies. It's not just going to count on just a handful. We're going to need them all, and so this is game one. We're going to find out what we got.
Right, what do you like about those three nickels and maybe some of the versatility they provide with different skill sets?
Yeah, all three of them bring something a little bit different, and so again, those are three guys that you're going to see in the game, and in different situations, different scenarios. They each have their sort of own little, package skill set when they're in the game. And, it's sort of our job as coaches to make sure we make play calls and put them in situations that sort of accentuate that. But, excited about all three of those guys and what they bring to the table.
You notice anything different about Ty Bryant going into this year as far as his abilities and his leadership abilities?
Yeah, there's a presence about Ty, like sort of an aura of confidence that I think everybody on the field, from coaches to players, offense, defense, especially when Ty's out there, like you can look and you see him and you say, okay, that guy knows what he's going to do when he's going to do it 100 miles an hour. He's going to be physical. He's going to be fast. He's going to be smart. So just like some of those special veteran players that we've had in the past, that's the presence that he carries right now.
Brad, early on in camp, you talked about putting a lot on the secondary shoulders, especially while you got the D-line kind of up to your standard. Is that still the expectation at this point?
Yeah, I think right now the expectation is that everybody's got to live up to the standard. And to say that we're going to put it more on the secondary, I think some of that was, through camp, while there was, some growing pains a little bit early, from spring into summer into fall camp. But now it's not about, everybody's going to have to share the load. Now, are there going to be times that those guys have to go win their one-on-ones? Absolutely. I'm going to, put that on them. And they want that. They want that responsibility. But there's going to be times that the D-line is going to have to go win their one-on-ones in this game. And, with the quarterback and, his ability to run, we're going to have to do a great job up front. making sure that we have solid rush lanes and we account for them all the way.
Brett, this
you
is
guys
kind
have
of
had-
outside of your specialty over there with that unit, but with Ty returning punts, what are some of the things that kind of you just see from him in defense that may translate well to doing that job?
Well, Ty's always had good ball skills, and he was even in high school, being a baseball player and being a center fielder, able to track balls. That's so much of being especially a punt returner. It's about being able to track a football, and he does that so natural. Um, Again, he's a tough kid that you can't be squirmish back there. When you've got a bunch of guys running full speed, and you have to take your eyes off them and look up and make sure you secure a ball. So, his toughness, his confidence, his ball skills, and just natural ability to track a ball, I think, is what lends him to be a good punt returner.
Coach, you guys have had multiple top 15 defenses since you've been here, and some really talented defenses coming into week one. Not comparable to those other teams, but how far along with the progression of where you want them to be? Kind of are they? You know what a great defense looks like.
Yeah, I would say we're got a long way to go, spectrum, and that could move and progress quickly, but until we see what happens on Saturdays and how they respond to adversity and how they pick each other up, how they, I'm the first to admit I'm going to make bad calls, and those really good defense found a way to dig out bad calls that coach made, and if it was a bad call and we got burnt on it, they didn't let it get them down. They said, okay, all right, we're going to make up for it. So they've got a lot to show in that regard. It's not about talking about it. They got to go do it.
What are some tangible things that you want to see from this defense? Obviously, win, but what are some tangible things you want to see from them coming out of Saturday?
I want to see us play fast. I want to see us tackle. I want to see us physical. Um, those are the big things. Like, mistakes are going to happen, but if you're flying around with the football, if you're physical with your hands, if you're physical with your shoulder pads when you're trying to pin ball carriers to the ground, if you're punching, if you're raking, if ball's in the air and we got a chance to make a play, we need to make it. Those are the things that I want to see. The execution part's obviously important, but again, they are not as far along as some of those defenses that had 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 reps in the defense. These guys don't have that, but what they do have is they have talent, ability, and then I want to see what their heart is. I want to see their effort level. I want to see how they play for each other, and not just defensively, but play well enough that it inspires the entire team. That's what we're looking for.
Everybody good?